All right, but our last concept for, and this is technically section 2.4 in the book, but we're still looking at linear functions or lines. But today's topic is we're going to be trying to find an equation when given 2 points. So really, what we're trying to do is we're trying to, here, maybe I'll try and type it. But really what we're trying to do today is get all of our answers. We're trying to get our, we're trying to get y equals mx plus b today. So there's two things we're trying to find. We're trying to find our slope and we're trying to find our y-intercept. So finding the slope should be review. We've already done in this class, and you've done it in Algebra 1, how to find the slope between 2 points. But a little
Mr.
refresher.
Phil,
Yeah.
I got a question. So ain't this like kind of like the X1?
So for our points, I'm going to do exactly what you just said. I'm going to label my points x and y. So that's x1, y1. And then this is x2, y2. So, and just like you said, the slope formula, if you don't know it, it's the y2 minus y1. So you subtract the y's over the x's, x2 minus x1. So we're going to plug this in. So I would have 5 minus -1 over 0 minus 4. Let's see, hopefully I can fit this in. So if you plug that in the top, like I know some of you guys might not have a calculator handy, but that's really, when you have a minus a -1, that's really 5 plus 1. So that would be 6. And then 0 over -4. I mean, sorry, 0 minus 4 would be -4. And you don't have to, but it's highly recommended you simplify this. This would really be, if you're not good at that, you could use that website, but it'd be -3 over 2. Because usually the smaller your numbers are, the easier, like it's usually a little bit nicer to work this out. So we've got our slope. Remember, this is our m. So we're trying to get y equals mx plus b. So we can plug in this for our slope. And since we have 2 points, we can plug those in for our x and y. It doesn't matter which point you use. I'm actually going to use the second point because it doesn't have a negative. I like to avoid the negatives if I can. So I'm going to plug in the 5 for my y. And I'm going to plug in the 0 for my x. So now we can work this out, and we're going to try and solve or get the b by itself. So really what you're going to do is, once you get your slope, you're going to plug that into your y equals mx plus b equation, and you're going to plug in one of your points for your x and y. So if I start simplifying this, though, I'm going to have 5 equals -3/2 times 0. If I just multiply that out, anything times 0 is 0, which is nice. We get rid of that fraction. We don't have to deal with a fraction. And anything plus 0 is just the same. So 0 plus b would just be b, right? So we found the two things we're going after. We found our slope and we found our b or our y-intercept. The last thing you want to make sure you do, and I'm running a little bit low on space, so I'm going to put my final answer up here. You want to you're going to keep your y equals, but you're going to plug in your slope. And you keep the x, and then you just plug in your b. Like, you want to write the equation of line. Like, this is something we could graph. Like, I would start up 5, and then my slope or my rise or run would be down 3, right 2. So we found the equation of our line.
Cool.
Ooh, correct. Right 2. Okay. Okay. We're good. Oh, I think, okay. So in this example 2, we're going to find our slope. So it's the same idea. Remember, you have your x1 and y1. And you have your x2 and your y2. So if we set up our formula, it would be, so it's, if you don't recall, just write the formula. But hopefully, since you've been seeing it a bunch, maybe some of you guys are learning it. But it would be, so I kind of wrote over, but that's a positive 6 minus 4 over our x's would be negative 2 minus negative 3. So if you work out the top, 6 minus 4 would be 2. If you work out the bottom, negative 2 minus negative 3, that would really be negative 2 plus 3. That would be a 1, or if, in case you don't have a calculator handy. So 2 over 1, though, is just 2. So if you, it's helpful if you can to simplify your slope, because it's going to make this next step a little bit easier where you're finding your y-intercept. So first step, find your slope like we have been. Step 2, we want to solve for b. So basically, we're going to substitute anything we can into this formula y equals mx plus b. So the first thing we know, I know my slope is 2. We just figured that out. We don't know what the b is. For the x and the y, we can plug in either one of our points. Usually I try and avoid the negatives, like I said in the first example, but both of these have a negative. So to me, it really doesn't matter. So I'm just going to do this first point. So I'm going to plug the 4 in for my y. And I'm going to plug in the negative 3 for that x. So now we just kind of want to clean this up and get the b by itself. So the first thing you want to do is just multiply that x in your slope. So 2 times negative 3 would be negative 6. And then we got like a one-step equation. So to get the b by itself, we would just add the 6. We're a little low on space, but you would see that your b is equal to 10. So we found the two pieces, because remember, when we're graphing lines, these are the two pieces that you need. You need your slope and you need your y-intercept, or your b. So once you've got these two answers, I'm running a little low on space here. I'll just put it down here. But you want to write your y equals mx plus b. So you want to plug in your slope and you want to plug in your b. Like you want to write an equation so like you could graph this. Like this is an equation you could graph. You would start up at 10, and then your slope would be 2 over 1. So you would go up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1 to get some more points. So that's your answer. So that's kind of the process. You want to find your slope, and then you want to plug in what you know, like one of your points and your slope, into the y equals mx plus b formula to solve for b, and then just put those two answers together. Don't forget to write like your equation like this, because that's our goal with this. So even if you find your m and your b, we want to put it together at the end.